The Kiowas were still supporting you. Back to the book. Inside the villages, the Army pilots ran astonishing risks to find my team. A Kiowa would swoop down toward the compound, flare back at rooftop level, and putter down the alleyways at 20 miles an hour, allowing the pilots to peer into every backyard and into every window. As the day grew hotter, we gradually cleared the valley of casualties. Over 30 wounded or dead were evacuated. We watched as Solano, the lead pilot, brought his Kiowa down to a few feet above a trench and hovered there. Highlander, we spotted 5 bodies. I'd heard all I needed. I jumped out the door and sprinted across the field to the right, opening some distance before Swenson yelled at me. I ignored him, knowing he'd be right behind me. A PKM shifted to me when I was halfway across the terrace. I hopped over a terrace wall and fell into a deep, well-constructed trench. I landed next to Gunny Johnson, and my heart stopped. He was lying on his back with his arms outspread, his eyes open, but never to see anything again on this earth. A few feet further on, I came across the body of an Afghan interpreter who had traveled with our team. I felt sick to my stomach. I knew what I would see next. Lieutenant Johnson lay on his back with his eyes closed. He looked peaceful despite the entry wounds in his right shoulder. Doc Layton lay on top of him with medical supplies scattered around. I rolled him over. Doc had taken a 3-round burst in the right cheek. Off to the right, Staff Sergeant Kenefick was lying face down, his GPS with a busted screen clenched in his left hand. His mouth was open and full of dirt. I think he was yelling out his grid location, the numbers I heard over the radio 4 hours earlier when he was shot in the back of his head. The team was wiped out. Their bodies were stiff and cold. Most of their gear was gone, weapons, helmets, radios. The .240 machine gun was missing, but Lieutenant Johnson's pack was filled with Link ammo. No one had fired the gun I was supposed to be carrying. I had never believed it would end like this. My mind refused to accept what I was seeing. Hour after hour, I'd imagined them holed up inside a stone house, shielded from RPG blasts, exchanging gunfire with the douchemen who knew better than to rush them. Swenson was standing above the trench. We were taking random incoming, and he was watching for movement among the houses. He talked into his radio for a few seconds, then bent down and picked up some of the team's gear. He didn't say a word. He left me alone with them. I hoisted the staff sergeant over my right shoulder. He was heavy and I fell once. He landed on top of me. I got up and carried him to an Afghan truck, carefully tucking him into the open bed. I stood there for a minute, suddenly beat. As I turned away from the truck, Hafez put his hand on my shoulder. The Askars say you carried out their dead. Now they want to help you. 5 or 6 of us returned to the trench while the damn PKM kept shooting at us. I carried Gunny Johnson back. The Askars took Lieutenant Johnson and Doc Layton. Swenson lugged back the rest of the equipment.